Well, it was a long time coming. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarafi, and I'm happy to meet you. And today, we're going to talk about Altergeist. Because there are some people who like to play Altergeist, and I want the people who like to play Altergeist to feel welcome on my channel, even though their deck is the most annoying part of Flat right now. So, let's take a look at the deck. Let's take a look at how you can use this deck. I went through the box 3 times because I was trying to get Evil Twins, so I have everything. That includes Prime Banshee, which is not in the deck. It's a bad card. The skill that we're using is called No Mortal Can Resist, and what it does can be used when your life points are at least 2,000 less than your opponent's. Change all monsters in your opponent's graveyard to Skull Servants. The skill can only be used once per duel. So that effect is permanent. Now you might think, okay, well that's going to take some work, right? Where's the Cosmic Cyclones? Well, No Mortal Can Resist is very unique because unlike the other skills, it doesn't require you to take any damage. All it says is if your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 more than yours. That includes if they gain life points. So you know those Live Twin players, those Tenny players, those Crusadia players that are playing the Legend of Heroes, and they gain 2,000 life points on their first turn? You can just activate the skill. When you go second against those decks, you're at 4,000, they're at 6,000. Before you even play a card, you can just be like, your graveyard's gone. No more Life Twin Law in the graveyard. No more Tenny Napura. No more Tenny Shithana. Just, they're all gone. They're all Skull Servants now, permanently. And you didn't have to do anything. It's a really nice effect, honestly. For the main deck, we have Altergeist Kunkri. This is a level 5 with 0 attack and 2400 defense. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, if you control an Altergeist card, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate that attack. Nice. It's a good effect. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects while that card and this monster are face-up on the field. So this is pretty good. You just get to special summon the Kunkri, and then you negate one of your opponent's attacks, and you get to target one of their cards, and that card is just negated while you have Kunkri on the field. Kunkri is not going to be on the field for long. You'll probably either bounce it or link it off, but getting to just flash negate one of your opponent's cards is pretty useful. Altergeist Multifaker. This is a level 3 with 1200 attack and 800 defense. If you activate a trap card, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Altergeist monster from your deck in defense position, except Altergeist Multifaker. You cannot special summon monsters that turn you activate this effect, except Altergeist monsters. You can only use each effect once per turn. So it's important to note that you can use the first effect of Multifaker if you've special summoned other monsters, just not the second one. So if it's your turn and you linked into something like Nightmare Unicorn, for example, and then you activate a trap card, you can special summon Multifaker from your hand, but its second effect won't trigger because you've already summoned a non-Altergeist monster. Same thing if it's your turn and you summon a Multifaker and then you try and link into Nightmare Unicorn, it's not going to work. So, whole turn, Altergeist only, if you special summon from the deck. Otherwise, you can't special summon from the deck. This card is very, very powerful. You will use Protocol to shuffle this card back and forth. You will special summon it as much as possible. You'll bounce it with Silkwidus so that you can keep it in your hand. It's a very, very good card, and you will make use of it constantly. I'm so shocked that we got this card, too. Meluseek, this is a level 1. It has 500 attack and 300 defense points. This card can attack directly. When this card inflicts damage to your opponent, you can target one card your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand, except Meluseek once per turn. So Meluseek is our normal summon. We normal summon it. We link into the Link Karibo, and then we will draw Kunkri. We only have one Kunkri, but we have 3 Meluseeks. We draw the Kunkri off of Meluseek. That gives us our interruption that we need. Altergeist Marionetter. When this card is normal summon, you can set one Altergeist trap directly from your deck to your spawn trap zone. Great, we will use that to get our manifestation. You can target one Altergeist card you control and one Altergeist monster in your graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon the other monster from your graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. So Marionetter can be used to bring back cards like Meluseek. It just has to send itself. That's pretty cool, and it also has 600 attack points, which is a very crucial number. If you play this under Hextia, Hextia has 3,100 attack points, allowing it to beat over anything with 3,000 or less, and 3,000 is a pretty key break point. So Marionetter is a huge card. Definitely want to make sure that you can search this card. Just kind of special summon the Meluseek from the deck with Multifaker and then link it off, and you'll just draw your Marionetter afterwards. It's good. Silkwidus, you can return one other Altergeist card you control to the hand, then target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So Silkwidus is weird. This card is very, very bizarre because its effect to bounce cards is part of the declaration. It's a cost, and it happens before you target. So there's like no interaction. If you activate Sulcadus' effect, you are immediately going to remove your card from the field, and there's nothing your opponent can do about it. And that's kind of a hard thing for people to play around, because if you specifically activate Manifestation to revive Sulcadus from the graveyard and then activate its effect, Manifestation leaves the field, and that immediately destroys Sulcadus. So before your opponent can even react to you targeting their card, Sulcadus is already off the field, which means that cards like Effect Veiler don't work, cards like Giant Hand don't work. Any card that requires Sulcadus to still be on the field to negate the effect doesn't work. And then if you activate a card effect like a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon to negate Sulcadus' effect, you don't get to destroy Sulcadus because Sulcadus has already left the field as well. So it's a card that's really, really frustrating for a lot of people, because it's just not the typical interaction that you would deal with, especially when you combine it with Manifestation. And it just gets Manifestation back if you have to destroy it. So it's really hard to get out of the Manifestation Sulcadus loop for a lot of decks. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Altergeist trapped in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So that's how you get Manifestation back. We are playing Spellbook of Knowledge. You can send to the graveyard either one spellcaster monster you control or one other spellbook card from your hand or face up on the field, except Knowledge, and if you do, draw 2 cards. Hard once per turn. So you can discard secrets with this, or you can just send one of your Altergeist monsters to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. That's pretty good. It'll let you get some traps. Spellbook of Secrets, add 1 spellbook card from your deck to your hand, except Spellbook of Secrets. You can only activate this effect once per turn. So you activate this card, you draw Knowledge. Knowledge draws you 2 more cards. This makes up for the fact that we have 22 cards in the deck, and it just kind of makes the deck more consistent, gives you more traps, which you need. Paleozoic Dynamiscus. Target one face-up card on the field, discard a card, and if you do, banish it. Once per chain, when a trap is activated, special summon this card. So this is really good. This card is in the box for Altergeist for a reason. Getting extra bodies on the board makes it easier for you to link summon, and you also want to banish your opponent's cards because it's very good. Personal Spoofing. This card should not be at 2. This card should not be at 2 by any stretch of the imagination. Once per turn, you can shuffle 1 Altergeist card from your hand or face up on the field into the main deck. Add 1 Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. That is a soft once per turn, which means that if you have 2 Personal Spoofings out at the same time, you can do this multiple times. And it's really, really, really dumb. Activating the Personal Spoofing for the first time does allow you to trigger your Multifaker, but activating the effective Personal Spoofing later does not. Multifaker triggers off of a trap card activating, not an effect activating. But that is still very good. And then you just kind of like draw the cards that you need. You can put Concrete in your hand. You can take Concrete out of your hand, draw Mellowseek during your turn. Then during your opponent's turn, you get Concrete back. It's a very, very like difficult control loop to get out of. Personal Spoofing kind of makes it so that Altergeist always has access to the cards they need when they need them. And that's kind of a very important part of the deck, because Altergeist is a deck that uses a lot of cards that are either really good on their turn or really good on their opponent's turn with no in between. So being able to change those cards on the dime is really, really strong. Ring of Destruction. During your opponent's turn, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls whose attack is less than or equal to their life points. Destroy that monster, and if you do, you take damage equal to half its attack points. Then inflict that damage to your opponent equal to the damage you took. You can only activate 1 Ring of Destruction per turn. So Ring of Destruction has been changed a lot since it got first released. It's only during the opponent's turn, so you can't activate it during your turn. It's only monsters your opponent controls, and their attack points have to be less than the opponent's life points, and then the effect damage is halved as well. And it only burns if it destroys the monster, and you take damage first, and your opponent doesn't take damage equal to half the monster's original attack. It takes damage equal to the damage you took. So if you prevent the damage that you take, your opponent doesn't take any damage either. So the card's very, very complicated. But in its purest form, if your opponent has 4,000 life points and they summon a monster with 3,000 attack points, you pop that monster, you both take 1,500, it's good enough. This is just a trap-based removal that is not limited, basically. We want to play cards that are not limit 3, limit 1, or limit 2, and this card is good enough. Warning point: when a monster is summoned this turn, it cannot attack, its effects are negated, and it cannot be used as material. That's very, very important. Prevent your opponent from doing literally anything with their monster. This will stop key important cards like Mayakashi Hajun, stops cards like Ra. It's just, just make your opponent unable to play the game, and that's what you want to do. Like, just stop them from doing anything, linking off, fusing, exceasing. Play this on Sombre and laugh at your opponent. It's good. Breakthrough skill. Target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up effect monster has its effects negated this turn. During your turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard, target a face-up effect monster your opponent controls, and that target has its effects negated until the end of the turn. This is basically a trap version of Forbidden Chalice that you can use twice. That's really good. We want to activate traps as much as possible, so we would rather play a trap version of the card than the spell version, even though we can use the spell version as soon as we draw it, because we want to play traps. Altergeist is a slow deck, kind of just accept that it's a slow deck and move on with your life. Altergeist Manifestation, target one Altergeist monster in your graveyard, special summon in attack position, and if you do, equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Altergeist trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use this effective Altergeist Manifestation once per turn. So the aforementioned Silkwoodus Manifestation loop is very important to the deck and how it functions. You can set this card directly from your deck with Marionette, which is really good. And then the last thing that you need to know about Manifestation, which is really weird, is when you activate Manifestation, it targets a monster in the graveyard first. It does not special summon the monster before it targets it. That means that in response to you targeting the card, before the card resolves, you can activate your personal spoofing and shuffle Manifestation, because it's only Altergeist cards, not Altergeist monsters. Shuffle Manifestation back into the deck to draw a different Altergeist card. And if you do, then you still special summon the monster from the graveyard, but it is not equipped by Manifestation, which means that it can't be just destroyed by destroying Manifestation. So that kind of allows you to just bypass the limitations of Manifestation, but you do give up the Manifestation if you do that. So the Manifestation is now in your deck rather than in your graveyard, so you can't just loop it constantly with Silkwoodus, which is... There's pros and cons to everything. Basically, Altergeist is a very skill-testing deck where you have so many options on how you can play the deck, how you can get this incremental advantage and beat your opponent, and I just want you to have every tool available to win the game. For the extra deck, we have Borreload, we have Nightmare Unicorn, we have Link Kariba, we have Nightmare Phoenix, and we have Magistus Moon Maiden because it is a spellcaster Link monster. The cards that we haven't talked about really before, we have Security Dragon, which requires just 2 monsters, and once while this card is face up on the field, if it's co-linked, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and bounce it. Hard one's return on that effect, so basically the reason that we're playing this card is because it's very easy to co-link with exactly Link Kariba. So you normal summon the Meluseek, you can link into Link Kariba, and then if you just get 2 other monsters out by using some card or effect, then you can get Security Dragon, pointing the Link Kariba, bounce your opponent's monster, and then go into Nightmare Unicorn. It's pretty good. The other card is Altergeist Hextia. This card is a Link 2 that requires specifically 2 Altergeists. It gains attack equal to the original attack of each Altergeist monster it points to. And when a spell or trap is activated, you can tribute 1 Altergeist monster this card points to, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. That is not once per turn, so as long as you can keep summoning monsters to the zone that Hextia points to, you can continue to tribute and negate their spells and traps. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, including by linking it off, you can add 1 Altergeist card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Hextia once per turn. So Hextia is really strong. You can special summon your Marionette to the zone that it points to. It has 3,100 attack points. If you link Hextia into Hextia, it'll have 3,000 attack points. You just keep tributing your monsters. You can activate Manifestation to special summon to the zone Hextia points to, tribute that monster. Then you can activate Multi-Faker's effect, special summon monster to the zone Hextia points to, tribute that monster. Hextia will only have 1,500 attack points after you tribute monsters, but you negate their spells. That's very important. So you can shut down a lot of decks by negating spells, especially fusion decks. So this card's really good, and 2 is a good sweet spot for it. Okay, let's take a look at the replay. So we are going second against Lunalights. Our opponent activates the skill first. They send Yellow Martin. Normal summon Collider Chick, mill the Purple Butterfly, activate Tiger. Tiger, bring back the Crimson Fox, and Xyz into Evil Swarm Nightmare. Then they activate Yellow Martin's effect, bounce the Tiger. Purple Butterfly, banish itself to special summon the Emerald Bird from the hand. Xyz into Abyss Dweller, and pass. Okay. So our opponent can stop us from special summoning monsters by putting them face down, as long as they're not linked monsters. And they can also prevent our effects from activating the graveyard. So if we play Meluseek and link it off, we don't get to draw a card. That's pretty bad. We draw the Meluseek, but we can't use it. So instead, we're just going to normal summon Marionette. We activate Marionette's effect to set our Manifestation. We set Personal Spoofing, and we enter the battle phase and just beat over the Abyss Dweller, knowing that the Evil Swarm Nightmare is basically useless. Importantly, the Evil Swarm Nightmare has the Collider Chick as a material. The opponent cannot easily get that card in the graveyard. So they normal summon the... They normal summon Tiger for some reason instead of just activating Tiger. They normal summon Tiger and then bounce it to special summon Yellow Martin from the graveyard. Then they activate Tiger and bring back the Emerald Bird and Xyz into Tiger King. Tiger King effect set the Tenki, but they've already normal summoned, so it doesn't help them that much. Tenki to draw Black Sheep. Battle. They are going to attack into the Marionetter. We activate Personal Spoofing, and we are going to shuffle the Meluseek to draw the Kunkuri. Multi-Faker's effect will activate. Evil Swarm Nightmare is going to set that monster face down as soon as it's special summon, but Multi-Faker's effect will still trigger. That allows us to special summon the Silquatus from the deck, and Silquatus will activate its effect to bounce Marionetter and bounce the Tiger King. It's our turn. We flip summon the Multi-Faker, and then we normal summon Marionetter. Marionetter's effect activates again. Play another manifestation from our deck. And then we link all three of these monsters off into Nightmare Unicorn, which cannot be set face down because it's a linked monster. Nightmare Unicorn effect, we're going to discard the Spellbook of Knowledge that we haven't played the whole game to shuffle the Tiger back into the deck. Then we'll activate Manifestation to bring back the Silquatus. The opponent is going to activate Evil Swarm Nightmare in response to set that face down. We chain Silquatus, bounce the Manifestation to get the Nightmare off the field. That allows us to trigger Multi-Faker. We special summon Multi-Faker, but we cannot use its effect to special summon another monster from the deck because we've already summoned Nightmare Unicorn this turn. We attack directly with both the Nightmare Unicorn and the Multi-Faker. Then we're going to activate Personal Spoofing, and we shuffle the Multi-Faker into the deck to draw it so that we have it in our hand for next turn. Pass to our opponent, they only have 600 life points left. They normal summon the Kaleidochick. We will activate Manifestation. We bring back the Silquatus, and we use its effect to bounce the Manifestation and bounce the Kaleidochick. The opponent cannot use Kaleidochick's effect. But they activate Crimson Fox in response. They banish the Crimson Fox from the graveyard to prevent Lunalight from being targeted, and we both gain 1,000 life points. We're going to chain Multi-Faker to that. Special summon Multi-Faker. Multi-Faker effect, special summon the Meluseek. Kaleidochick is going to mill Wolf. Discard the Black Sheep to add Wolf back to the hand. Yellow Martin, bounce the Kaleidochick. We activate Lunalight Fusion. Send Crimson Fox, Kaleidochick, and Yellow Martin to special summon Saber Dancer. Crimson Fox's effect is going to target the Nightmare Unicorn since it was sent, and set Nightmare Unicorn's attack points to 0. Then they activate Lunalight Wolf, and they attack into the Nightmare Unicorn. That's really bad for us. We don't want to take 4,700. We're going to special summon Kunkuri since we have a Altergeist monster. This allows us to stop an attack, and it does not target. So even though Saber Dancer cannot be targeted, its attack is still stopped. Then we activate Kunkuri's effect to negate Lunalight Wolf. And it's our turn. We're going to link all 4 of these monsters off into Borreload Dragon. This allows us to take the Saber Dancer without targeting it and attack our opponent directly. Our opponent is going to concede after that. There you go. So that is Altergeist. You can just control the board. You can carefully and slowly bounce all your opponent's cards, negate their effects, special summon monsters from your deck, make sure that your opponent just runs out of resources before you do, and then if you need to, you just link everything off into a big giant beater and finish them off. My name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.